everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and I grow a garden in the middle of the desert in Arizona, in the middle of the city. As you probably can hear, the city noise. So guys, first I just want to give you a little quick overview of my garden. Also, I have a shishito pepper problem, so I bought another shishito pepper plant, even though I still have 3 going in the house. Where I'm gonna put them, I don't know, but I will have a ton of shishito peppers. So just a quick glance, guys. This is going good so far. I'm very happy at what my garden is starting to look like now that we have all different types of rodent problems taken care of. That's a shishito, that's a shishito, that's the new shishito. Eggplants are looking a lot better. This is the one that is now going to turn 2 years old. This melon plant though, I don't know guys. I don't know if this poor little melon's gonna have a chance to ripen before the winter just kind of really hits. Bean plants, we got pepper plants, tomatoes, all the beautiful Malabar spinaches, and we just added the broccoli. So pretty exciting stuff. So if you guys clicked on this video, one of the things you probably want to know is what should you be doing to your garden if you are using city water? And this is something that I didn't know 100% for sure of what was going on, but I knew that there was something that was going on. Now, my garden has really compacted soil a lot of the times. I add tons of compost to my soil. I add an addition of worms, and I've added a lot of worms, but it takes forever for the worms to break down the soil. Now, when they do, it's glorious, it's beautiful, and it's nice, but I live in Arizona, so I pretty much can grow all year long, and I don't have enough space in my garden in order to be able to give each bed like a real rest, like a season where it's just off and it can allow its soil to do its thing. But it wasn't just the fact that I was planting things back to back, it was the fact that I was watering my garden with city water, and in the city, that's all you have. So I went to the nursery, which is pretty much down the street from my house, and they mentioned something when he said, if you're gonna buy that plant, it's gonna have deep roots, so make sure you are putting gypsum if you live over here in this area. And I was like, what? What's gypsum? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And guys, this is gypsum. So this right here is gypsum. Now, I will put a link down below of where I got it at Whitfill Nursery, and then I'll also look for like an Amazon link or something like that for those of you guys that are not close to a nursery that you can get it at. But gypsum is a byproduct of sulfur. It's basically when sulfur breaks down, it turns into gypsum. Now, the sulfur comes from volcanic rocks. So basically, as volcanic rocks break down, then they turn into sulfur, and then they turn into gypsum. Now, gypsum, this little bag, is like hundreds of years old because it takes a long time for that to break down into gypsum. Now, the amazing thing that it does is it completely takes the salt from the city water, because if you guys don't know, city water is treated with a lot of different things, and even our house has a water softener that uses salt in order to soften the water. But it takes that salt and pulls it out of your soil and out of your garden and just buries it deeper into the earth and kind of washes it away eventually. So that is one of the reasons why your soil can be so compacted. So we've solved the problem, and we are going to start adding some gypsum to the soil. Now, I'd also like to mention that when it comes to you having pots that you grow the same plant in for a long period of time, this is where you really see the compacting in your soil. My big beds, over time, those will break down a lot of times because I bury little food scraps in there for the worms to kind of really get into different areas that I really see are compacted. But the pots, they don't really have that option. So one of the big things that I like to do, and that I'm going to do, is try and put some gypsum down there in order to make that soil a little bit softer, and the roots have, you know, a little bit more ways to get around, and that they can absorb water without so much salt in them. Because for those of you guys that have watched my channel for a long time, you know that for my shishito pepper plants, which I do have a problem with shishito pepper plants, I love them, and also my eggplants, they're a couple years old. So I cut all of those way back and I over summer them, as I like to say, because we don't really overwinter here in Arizona, because now is a beautiful time. The summer is when it's like 1,000,000 degrees. But those pots are so compacted that if I were to try and dig anywhere in there, I couldn't do that. And the plants kind of suffer too as well, and they don't get like their full strength of being able to eat the fertilizer that I put in or absorb the water, because the soil is so compacted. So this is going to be the solution. Alright guys, so we're going to start with this one because this is my oldest shishito pepper plant. Now if we go down and try and dig anywhere into this, it is completely compacted. Like I really couldn't even get the shovel anywhere in there. And you can't really tell it because this is a tan pot, but if you get really close, you can see right there, there is white salt composites everywhere there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move back these wood chips because I want to be able to get right to the soil. Move that little string. And I'm just going to take some gypsum and I'm just going to sprinkle it down in there. Now you can even see the roots are starting to die back at the top because they're just not really getting any type of nutrients to them. So then I'm going to take this little tool and I'm just going to try and scrape it a little bit in there. I'm going to be careful not to damage the roots, but I just want to get a little bit in there. And just like that, we are done. Alright, so I am going to go through and do this to my entire garden and make sure I put just a good decent amount of gypsum at the base of the soil. The nice part about this is that you don't have to worry about it like burning your plants or anything like that. They said that it just goes right into your soil and just helps to remove all of the salt. Now you can also use sulfur, this is a byproduct of sulfur, but I was told that sulfur takes a longer time to break down, and if you wanted something that's a little bit more fast acting, use gypsum because it's already had the years of being broken down from the sulfur. Now one of the things that I plan to do when we get our land is immediately amend the soil with the gypsum. That's something I wish I had done earlier on when building my garden, and if I had known that, I would have done that a couple years ago when I first started this journey of building my garden, because that would have made a lot of difference in my soil and it being able to get rid of that salt that was coming from the city water. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. Make sure you guys are growing yourselves gardens, because even a small space will provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.